Good day, fitness professionals. It's me, Aaron, here again with you to explore some more exercise. In today's exercise, we're going to be exploring the squat pattern. So, what is the squat? The squat, simply put, is a vertical displacement of the hips. So, my hips traveling down towards the floor and then returning back up is a squat. That's as simply as we can put it. Because of that, we're therefore working and strengthening through the lower body. More specifically, when we look at this, we're looking at the amount of action at the joints of the ankle, the knee and the hips. When we look at those three joints and we look at a squat and maybe compare it to other exercises like a hip hinge or a deadlift, we notice that number one, with a squat, like I said, it's vertical, whereas with a hip hinge or a deadlift, we've got some more horizontal action going on. Because of this, at the ankles, with a squat, there is more range of motion required in order to be able to perform a good squat. Also, the knees will need more motion, more ability, more mobility and stability to be able to squat than perhaps a hip hinge would. So we're looking at those dominant structures when we're looking at our squat. So why would we squat? What do we need to squat for? Well, squats come into everyday life. If I'm getting up out of a chair, I need to be able to squat. If I am gardening, I need to be able to squat. If I've got myself down in a crouch position, doing some housework, picking up the kids, whatever it is, I need to be able to be in a squat position and return out of that squat as well to live life healthily. On the flip side of that as well, we've got sports. Sports require different types of squats, different types of hip motions in order to be able to become better at the sports that you play. So the squat is such a universal motion. But because of the universality of the squat, is there one squat that fits all? Well, if we look at first, we look at the hips themselves, and we look at the hip bones, we're all made slightly differently. And because we are all made slightly differently, different squats are going to suit different people. We might also have small injuries, niggles, especially as we go through life. So again, we need to be able to think of squats that maybe take a bit of pressure off an ankle or off of a knee, but still allow us to get up and down efficiently and safely. Again, if we're looking at sports, we need to make sure the squat that we do replicates the sport that the person is playing. So I would say, therefore, everybody's squat should look a little different. We should be looking at different speeds of squats. We should be looking at different ranges of motion of squats. We should be looking at using different kit with squats. And also, we should be looking at driving with different footprints with the squat as well. So what I mean by that, and this comes from the Gray Institute, is the SFT footprint matrix is a great place to start to explore the right squat and the best squat for every individual. So what does SFT stand for? It stands for sagittal, frontal and transverse. So if we're thinking about the sagittal plane first for a squat, from a neutral position with my feet, I could in fact pop one foot slightly in front of the other and perform my squats from there. By doing this, what I'm actually doing is I'm reducing some pressure in the knee that's in front and in the ankle that's in front, but also I'm putting more demand through the hip, the knee and the ankle, in the foot and the leg that's trailing, the leg that's slightly behind. So I can start to get smart and think, well, if I need more work on this leg or need to take some pressure off this leg, a great way to start to do that is play with the sagittal plane of the SFT. The second one is the frontal plane. So we know that everyone's shapes of their hips are different, and we know that some people will find that a narrow squat is easier or more applicable to them. Some people will find that that neutral stance works really well, and some people will find that going a little bit wider could provide more stability, and or more mobility at the hips depending on how they're shaped. So again, we need to work with the sagittal plane, but also we need to work with the frontal plane to make sure that we find a squat that works best. And we've also got that really important plane, which is the transverse plane. And we can squat with our toes out. Often people will find it a little easier to sit into depth when their toes are pointed out, because what we're then going to additionally add to it is some nice external rotation of the hips. We can place our feet directly forwards, squatting straight down and up here. But also we could even toe in. And by toeing in, we're actually going to buy in potentially a little more of the glutes on that type of squat. So again, we can play with all these different positions with the feet to make sure that the squat is more individual for our clients. So having said that, we're going to explore some of those with different pieces of kit and with different thresholds so that we get the most out of the squat, whether it be for mobility, for strength and stability, for endurance, or for power. Guys, hold on tight because we are going to take you through a whole range of squats.
So taking it from the basic squat, we're going to first tweak the squat in the sagittal plane by staggering the footprint. What you can see here is taking some pressure away from the front leg, being the right leg, and putting a little bit more pressure into the left. From there we can then change sides and do the other side. This is a great way of working with clients that have got one-sided issues, and you can start from that position and take them back to normal. Here we have a wide squat, so now we're working and tweaking in the frontal plane. We've got the wide stance, which is going to tie up the hips again, helping out people with knee issues. From there, we're then going to challenge the knees and ankles a little more by going with a narrow stance squat. Some people will find that squat a little easier to do as far as mobility. Then we're going to turn the toes out, working through the transverse plane tweak with an externally rotated squat. Rotated out at the feet often provides a little bit more motion from the ball and socket and the hip. And then if you want to challenge that, you can go for the internally rotated squat pattern with the feet, which actually buys in a little bit more glute action. We can take that on one step further now, literally with our travelling squat. First off by stepping forwards and returning back up tall, but making sure that we are going still through a squat pattern. And then once we've done that, we can take that even further on with our full travelling squat. So finding some length of room to work in, and then from there taking steps forwards, swiveling at the hips, swiveling at the feet. Now obviously these last two squats are just a little more lifelike, great for sports people, great for people that do activities in their everyday lives which requires them to get up and down, crouch and return from different positions, different angles. Then we can add a little bit more explosiveness with the squat. As you can see, we're wearing the weighted vest as well to add some more load to the exercise. And from here, we're getting a bigger demand with power and through momentum. Then we take the momentum and the power away and we add more time under tension with the pulse squat. Time under tension could potentially equal more strength gain, more stability gain at the thighs, at the hips. This is a favourite of mine. This is a pause squat, and by pausing on the way down, you can encourage and tease your members, tease your clients to just get a little further depth out of their squats. If you can do it one way, you can also do it the other way. So looking at pausing on the way up. This is a great way of checking in with your technique at all points with the squat. If you can do it down and you can do it up, then you can also do it both ways, getting double the benefits. Now we take a look at a classic barbell squat. So shelving the bar in a high bar position, keeping the elbows underneath the bar, finding the right width for you as the individual, and then taking the depth to a depth that works best for you. Remember that big depth isn't always the best. It depends on what you need for the particular activity or sport desired. We can also add a wedge squat. So by doing this, we're going to be taking our heels a little higher, our toes are going to be lower. What this is going to do is it's going to provide and slacken the hamstring slightly. So it's going to take some slack or give some slack to the posterior chain of the body. What you might find is with clients with this one is they're going to be able to get a little bit deeper with their squat. Obviously, this doesn't have to be done with a barbell. It could be done with any piece of kit available. And if we can do it that way, we can also turn the wedge around. What this is going to do now is take up more tension in the hamstring. So this is actually going to provide a little more challenge to the mobility through the posterior chain, and in particular at the ankle. So this is a great ankle mobility exercise, working with some load and working the squat pattern. And we can also work through the lateral as well. We can tweak up the lateral demand. So by placing your foot and placing the wedge sideways, we now have the ability to play with the amount of lateral force going through our squat. This can either help or hinder work at the glutes depending on which way round you place the wedge in the lateral position. Now we've got a really great squat. This is a great functional squat, which is an offset load. You can see that one plate is 5 kg, the other plate is 10 kg. This is putting the body off balance and challenging the load on one side of the body. By then trying to keep the bar horizontal, we're having to challenge our core stability as well as our hip stability and the rest of the body. We can also work with an offset load by taking our body position over to one side of the bar. So on this one, I'm further closer to the left side of the plate, or the left plate on the bar. Again, this is going to bring about a similar demand by putting more pressure through one side of the body. This is great for life. This is great for sport. It's what we do every day as human beings, which is carry and hold things in offset. We then have a classic front squat, now producing a little bit more challenge through the front side of the body in the front loaded position, but also challenging the back side of the body and particularly the torso to stay upright throughout the squat pattern. We take it from the barbell and now we're looking at a nice mobility squat with the Viper. The Viper being tilted forwards creates a little bit of ballast which allows me to sit down easily. If we can do it in one plane of motion, we also have the ability to work through the other two planes of motion. You can see the lateral shift through the Viper here. And by shifting the Viper laterally, there's a little bit more demand in one hip on the other side. And then by stirring the Viper, we're then getting that transverse plane as well. Remember that mobility is three-dimensional, so to build more 3D mobility in the hips, the knees and the ankles, we need to explore those different ranges of motion, those different directions of motion with our squat pattern. We've then taken the Viper and we're now utilizing the load of the Viper with gravity in order to help mobility, and also with this particular one produce a little bit more motion available at the hips, first sideways and then through rotation. Here's another great piece of kit to help our clients squat. This is a great beginner squat. utilizing the TRX handles to offset some of the body weight so that it allows us to take the pressure off the joints but still go through a good squat pattern. If we then wanted to increase the balance demand of the squat, we can take ourselves from a squat to a single leg balance. From here, we also have an opportunity to work with a little bit of mobility. This is a great depth exercise, trying to get a little deeper, working the lateral plane in conjunction with the sagittal plane in order to get some more mobility from the hips. And then we can actually provide a little less mobility. This is a really fantastic exercise. Those working on any overhead squat type pattern will know that this makes the demand of mobility much greater, and in particular with this TRX squat works the back side of the body. From there we then take it into our pistol squat. Pistol squat is a fantastic combination of mobility and stability and strength all at the same time. I can progress from 2 handles into 1 handle. 1 handle will challenge balance and challenge coordination through one side, but also it starts to put more pressure down into the legs. From there we can then progress on one more further strategic point to no hands and then work through the pistol squat. And as you can see, there is a lot of demand on balance as well as stability and mobility, particularly at the ankles, knees and hips, in order to form a good pistol squat. And to finish off, we've got a bunch of Dynamax medicine ball exercises, again, that just provide us with more variety for our clients, make it more lifelike for what our clients like to do, what they need to do for life or for sport. So we've got some drops and we've got some pops as well. Adding coordination, adding a little bit more interesting exercise to the squat pattern, and we can put it then together. We can layer it up in order to make the most and maximize that squat, maximize coordination and maximize fun. The ball is also a great way of working in 3D. Here you can see lots of nice rotation with the ball, making the most out of mobility, stretching the whole body and working the whole body as one unit. Here is a lateral squat. Again, still working the drop pattern with the ball. And then we start to influence the sagittal plane yet again with that step squat. We can turn in through some internal rotation with the squat. And if we can do that, we can also work in the other direction with our lateral as well.
So there you have it, guys. That is another exploration, this time on the squat. Hopefully you can start to see that the squat has to be applied to the individual in front of you. The position that you squat in, the range that you squat to, the speed that you squat at, the kit that you use, and all of those other variables have to be tailored to the person that you are designing the squat for. So hopefully some of those exercises might have inspired and sparked your imagination and have allowed you to come up with some new ideas. To let you in on a little secret, to come up with all of those exercises that you just saw took me all of about 3 or 4 minutes. It's just opening that door to your creative brain and coming up with different ways, using different pieces of kit to create some really good fun squats. It will keep your sessions fresh, it will keep your clients progressing, and it will keep you progressing for a lot longer by exploring the squat in more depth. Guys, we look forward to sharing another exercise explored with you real soon. But for today, Aaron signing out. Thank you very much.